Right, today we're going to make a traditional British pudding, a treacle suet pudding. Traditionally this would have been steamed, but we're actually going to make it in a microwave. If you haven't got a microwave at home, I'll show you how to steam it. So the first thing we need to do is grease our pudding bowl. Now you need a pudding bowl that will hold 1.25 litres, 2 1/4 pints, and it can be glass or plastic if you're using it in the microwave, or it can be glass or ceramic or metal if you're going to steam it. So you've greased your pudding bowl. Next thing you need to do is to mix your flour, suet. Suet is beef fat, or you can get a vegetarian alternative, and sugar, all in a large bowl. Give it a mix round. To that, nice and mixed. Then you're going to put your egg in a separate container. Add to your egg after you've given it a whisk. You're going to add vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon. Now there are variations you can do with this suet pudding. You can make it lemon by adding lemon curd and adding lemon zest to your sponge mixture and taking out the vanilla essence. So you've added your vanilla essence, and now you're adding your milk to your egg mixture. A bit more vanilla essence in there. Right, you're now going to add your milk mixture to your dry ingredients and mix thoroughly with a metal or a wooden spoon, it doesn't really matter. Really quick. Make sure you use it all. And you should have quite a stiff batter. Right. To your pudding bowl, you're going to add 3 tablespoons of syrup. Now you can add jam instead of syrup. You could use chocolate sauce and add some cocoa powder to your sponge mixture, suet sponge mixture. So we want 3 tablespoons. Of syrup. And as I say, this will traditionally be steamed for 2 hours to cook it, but we're going to cook it in the microwave, and the microwave does the steaming for us. Two. And 1 more, 3. And suet is a fat that can be used for sweet or savoury products. In this suet sponge pudding, we're using it sweet products. You can make suet pastry, make a steak and kidney pudding, another traditional British dish. And suet is beef fat. Comes from the cow. Okay, so that's your 3 tablespoons of syrup in the bottom of your greased bowl. You're then going to add very carefully add your sponge mixture. sure you get it all out. And you're going to put that, cling film it and put it in the microwave for 4.5 minutes on full power. You're then going to leave it to stand for 2 minutes. And then you can turn it out. So, cover with cling film. And pop in the microwave on high. Now, if you haven't got a microwave, then you need to steam it. And the first thing you need to do is cut yourself a circle bigger than your basin of foil and of greaseproof paper. You then need to put a pleat in that circle so that as it rises, the paper will rise with it. You then need some string. And you're going to tie it up with string. Bit fiddly, but it can be done. My string wasn't knotty. Oh dear me. You tie it up with string. 2 times round with the string would be best. Now, second time round with the string, just to make it secure. Then you're going to make a handle for it, which you're going to put through the string. You don't need a steamer, you've got a handle there. You just need a large saucepan, and in that large saucepan you're going to put a saucer. You're going to put your pudding in. You're going to fill it up with water, put the lid on, put it on to boil, and then turn it down to simmer, and you would leave that for 2 hours to cook it. So it's much quicker to be able to cook it in the microwave. So while that's cooking, you're going to make your vanilla custard. Now the vanilla custard is a complex skill. So you need a basin, a whisk if you've got one, if a wooden spoon will do just as well. and you're going to make your vanilla custard. So you need to put 500 ml of milk in your milk saucepan. You need to separate your eggs. Now don't throw the egg whites away. You can use those to make pavlovas or meringues. You won't have an egg separator at home, so you'll have to use the shell or your hands to separate the eggs. You only want the egg yolks. One. Now the microwave is finished, so you're going to leave it to stand for 2 minutes because the microwave will carry on cooking even though it's stopped, because the molecules are still being agitated. So that will go on cooking for another 2 minutes. Egg yolk number 3, and now egg yolk number 4. And as I say, I'm going to cling these egg whites, not throw them away, and make some meringues with the egg whites rather than waste them. Wash my hands because I've been dealing with eggs, raw eggs. Now to the egg yolks, I'm going to add the vanilla essence, sugar, and my corn flour and my plain flour. Now I've got vanilla pods. I've also got vanilla essence. Vanilla essence is much cheaper, so you can use vanilla essence, but I just want to show you how you de-seed a vanilla pod. So in here I've got 2 vanilla pods. Need to cut it open. One will be sufficient. And it's the seeds I want out of it. So with a sharp knife, cut it in 2, make it easier to handle. With a sharp knife I'm going to split down the pod. Open the pod up, and with the back of the knife I'm going to scrape out the seeds. That's what I want. The seeds out of the vanilla pod. They will give a lovely flavour, but it is much more expensive to use vanilla pods than it is to use vanilla essence, so either will do. So split down my pod with a sharp knife. Open up my vanilla pod and scrape out my seeds. So if you have got any vanilla pods at home, by all means use them, but if you haven't, vanilla essence will do. So I've scraped out all my seeds. I'm going to scrape those into my bowl. So that's my vanilla pods. And the next thing I need to add is my sugar. 70 grams of caster sugar. My corn flour, 25 grams. And my normal flour, okay? So the corn flour and the normal plain flour are the thickening agent. They will gelatinize and your egg yolks will coagulate and thicken your custard. This is how custard was made before Mr. Bird invented his. Mr. Bird's custard has corn flour in and yellow food colouring. But this is a complex skill. I've still got some vanilla pods. Give this a mix round. and then I'm going to heat my milk. Now I'm going to heat my milk to just below boiling. I don't want it to boil. So heat the milk until it just comes to the boil, then take it off the heat immediately. So it's on the heat there. While that's warming up, let us have a look at our syrup sponge. That wasn't done properly. Down to that. And there we have the syrup sponge. My bowl was a little bit big for my syrup sponge, but there we have a syrup sponge, and we're just going to make the custard now. So when my milk has got to just below boiling, so I'm now going to take it off the heat and slowly add it to my egg and cornflour mix. I wouldn't recommend using a whisk, it gets stuck in the whisk. I would recommend using a wooden spoon. So I'm mixing my vanilla pods, egg, sugar to a smooth paste. Once I've got it smooth, I'm going to add some more milk. Now, I'm then going to return that milk to the heat, and I'm going to cook it on a low heat. I'm going to cook that on a low heat till it thickens. I don't want it to boil. If it boils, I might curdle the eggs. So stirring all the time, because what's happening is that your flour and your corn flour, the starch granules are absorbing the moisture, and just below boiling point, they're so full of moisture they will burst and form a matrix to thicken your liquid, which is called gelatinization. And your egg yolks The protein in your egg yolks will denature. Remember, they're long strings of amino acids all coiled up together, and when they denature, they open up and break their peptide bonds, and as you continue heating, they reform, trapping moisture. And that will help to thicken the liquid as well. The egg yolks are in there to help with the thickening and the colour. The vanilla pods are in there for flavour. The milk is your bulk ingredient. And your flour and corn flour are there to thicken your mixture. If you boil this mixture with the egg yolks in, you will curdle it. That's why it's such a complex practical skill, because your heat control has got to be spot on. So you cook it until it starts thickening, but not boiling. And you have to have patience with it. It will take a little while. And then you can serve this vanilla custard with your steamed suet sponge. As I say, you can do lots of variations. You can use jam. If you decide to make a chocolate sponge, you need to take 25 grams of the flour out and add 25 grams of cocoa powder and use a chocolate sauce in the bottom. You can make it lemon, put lemon curd in the bottom and add some lemon zest. But it's a traditional steamed sponge because it has suet as its fat. And as I say, you can make a pastry with suet fat as well. Suet pastry, which was often used for steak and kidney pudding. And you'd line a bowl, such as we've used today, with the pastry, put your filling in, and you would traditionally steam it in a saucepan like I showed you. But you can nowadays use the microwave for the same purpose. And when you come to do your practical exam in year 11, you might want to do a steak and kidney pudding or a suet sponge, depending on what it is, what your design brief is. And you can either think about using the microwave, because you've only got 3 hours to cook. So this is gradually thickening up. Notice I've got it on a gentle heat. And it's really important that you're patient with this, because you want it to thicken. But you don't want it to boil. If it boils, you will curdle your eggs. And that's why it's a complex skill. Mine is very nearly there. Taken off at the heat, because I don't want it curdling. But it's now a nice thick consistency of custard. And there we have our custard and our steamed syrup sponge. cut our syrup sponge open. It has that nice syrup soaked into it.